we really want to hear from the students and see their experiences because, we can come up with random ideas all day long and then wonder why no one's showing up, why is no one engaging, but going to that source and asking them and seeing how we can improve their experience is the biggest thing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the OSE Podcast. I want to officially welcome everyone to the 4th season of the podcast, Season 4, Episode 1. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ethan. I'm the graduate student assistant for the online student experience. With Season 4, we're going to be talking a lot about leadership, career development, preparing for the future, and kind of specifically how students can make a difference in the world around them, kind of being leaders in the world around them, yeah, for lack of better words.
Hey, that's okay.
To kick off this episode, I'm joined with our very own Dallas Wappington.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Dallas Wappington. I'm the coordinator for the online student experience, and I'm also a UNT alum, so I've been there, done that.
Yeah. What better way to kind of talk about getting acquainted with leadership and career development in the UNT and specifically online space? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to kind of get things started, could you give us kind of just like a quick introduction for those who aren't familiar with online student experience, kind of what OSE does?
Yeah. So we are considered a special program under the Division of Student Affairs. We are a small team of 5 people. We have 2 full-time staff members, 1 graduate assistant, and 2 student ambassadors. So each of us kind of come together to the common goal of bridging that gap between online students and UNT, basically trying to build on community, provide them and make sure that they feel prepared for post-graduation, because typically there's that, like I said, that gap between being an online student and actually feeling like you're a part of the university because you're not in person. So we're basically here to help you during that process and feel like you are connected, you have community, and then also make sure that you feel prepared professionally, academically, whatever the case may be. And we're basically just here to help, like do what we can.
Gotcha. So speaking of helping online students, what would you say is OSE's role in supporting online students here at UNT?
So my blurb that I always give people at resource fairs, orientations, and just kind of telling them about OSE is we serve technically everyone at UNT. We don't serve just online students. But I always say, even if you're taking one online class or you're taking none or you're taking completely online, our services, our events are still for you. And in terms of our role directly, because there's UNT Online, which handles the academic side of being an online student and their programs. And then there's OSE. I like to say that we're the fun side. We like to build that community and provide different services that make students feel closer to UNT. So it's a bit of helping them create a sense of belonging, but also helping them prepare, academically and professionally. Because mostly when an online student comes to university, some may have the mindset of, I'm just here to get the degree. I just want to get here, do my classes, and get out.
Yeah.
But to really help their experience and get the full UNT Mean Green experience, we're wanting to do what we can to kind of build that connection and make them feel like they have someone to support them, which they do. I mean, we have our success coaches, we have our peer mentoring, because at the end of the day, we're here to serve students and we're here because we want to help them. They made it this far and getting into college and doing all this hard work, so we just want to do our best to help you out.
Kind of helping facilitate that whole campus life kind of aspect and kind of helping students feel, supported along the way. Yeah. And what kind of services does OSE provide students in particular?
So many. But for time's sake, I'll cut to the main ones. So one I mentioned previously was our success coaching. So our success coaches consist of me, our other full-time staff member, Andrea, and Ethan. And so with Success Coaching, you make an appointment, and we basically are there to kind of help with any sort of general questions students have. If they want assistance on getting engaged on campus, or they want to learn more about different campus resources that can assist them. That's what we're there for. I always joke that we are the best friend to the people who are coming to UNT for the first time, whether you're a transfer or you're first year, because I mean, it can be confusing coming to UNT. We're such a big institution. There's so many different resources and programs and people. So it's nice for them to come to one person and be like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. So they had that good go-to person. And then we also have our peer mentoring program that is led by our student ambassadors. So they also meet virtually. Basically, you get out of it what you want out of it, really. Like if you're going into it saying, I want more like academic and professional development, our ambassadors help them there. And then, or if they're just like, I just want someone to check in on me like every couple of weeks or whatever, and just get to have someone to talk to. So it really does range depending on what you're wanting. And then something new that we started this past semester is the OSE Advisory Board.
Okay.
So this is something that Andrea, the OSE manager, is overlooking. Basically, anyone can join, but it's basically a group of students who are online and have like some concerns or want to see better things come out of being an online student that we may not even think of. It's always nice to get the perspective of the actual online student going through it and asking them, okay, what would you like to see UNT do? What are some struggles that you've experienced? So we're getting that one-to-one student interaction and advice and seeing what we can do to better improve their experience.
What kind of insights have we gotten so far from the advisory board?
I mean, one of the interesting ones that I've seen and that we're trying to actively work on is there was one or two students, I remember from last semester, discussing how they wanted more career development opportunities and building
Kind of right along with the theme of this season.
Perfect. Yeah. I hope you're watching out there. But yeah, so one of the things that we're doing is working on Future in Flight, which is our like career post-graduation series that we're planning on hosting in March. So that is a good opportunity to kind of
something to keep note of.
Yeah, taking something that a student has said to us, a concern that they have and they want to see actually implemented, and we were able to take that idea and break it down to different areas, different sessions because we really, I mean, students come here, they study, they do their exams, they do all the things, but at the end of the day, they're here because they want to better themselves. They want to get into a better field, a better career. So it's our responsibility to help guide them towards that path.
What would you say is the meaning of discover, develop, and drive?
Yeah, so this past semester, President Keller announced his 5-year strategic plan for UNT, and the 3 main goals or themes is discover, develop, and drive. So discover comes down to making sure that our staff, our students, our faculty are at their best potential. So that may include a variety of different professional developments, making sure that we feel prepared and are better to accommodate students. And then students feeling like they're prepared and able to go into the work field after graduation and feel like they got a solid experience and know what they're doing. And then,
that helps.
Right? It does help. It helps to know what you're doing after graduation. And then there's develop. So that goes into the bit of the entrepreneur and developing and learning things and trying to actually take that knowledge and make it into something like learning more.
Basically, taking it outside of the classroom. Yeah.
And then the last part is drive. So that focuses more on the student creativity and innovation, entrepreneurship. So really what makes us passionate about what we do. And so those are our three themes that we're really wanting to focus on. So President Keller and his team are already starting to conduct research and trying to get things out there and going to see how we can go ahead and work on discovering things, making sure we're at full potential, developing those ideas and driving them.
And how would you say that these ideals and these kind of strategies impact students, specifically online students?
Yeah, so kind of tying back into a little bit of what we were talking about with the advisory board, how we're taking those ideas, we're seeing what we can do with it, what are the different options available, then actually implementing them. And then with these ideals and how they directly impact, online students in particular, like it comes down to the experience, like currently, even as we post this this episode, the Division of Student Affairs assessment team has a form going out where it's literally just 2 questions. It asks students, how do you feel about your UNT experience? And then what do you want out of your UNT experience? So if your experience is different than something that you want, we're basically looking at that want and seeing the dynamic and break between it of like, okay, how do we get these students who have these variety of different concerns and getting them to the place that they want to be.
How to bridge like the gap.
And so with the advisory board, how can we get where they want to be, where they want UNT to be, and get them there? And so that's basically like the strategic plan, the advisory board, things like that is, we really want to hear from the students and see their experiences, because we can come up with random ideas all day long and then wonder why no one's showing up, why is no one engaging, but going to that source and asking them and seeing how we can improve their experience is the biggest thing.
Yeah, like what would actually get people to engage, what would actually be helpful. Yeah, because like you were saying earlier, like there's so many different resources on campus that it kind of can feel overwhelming. It's like, oh, like why am I not, engaging with all these things? Well, there's like a million different things. I don't know where to start. So kind of helping kind of consolidate that and making it meaningful, would be definitely very impactful.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some specific events that kind of target these ideals and these kind of strategies, the 3Ds that we've been talking about?
Yeah, so I already talked a bit about the Future in Flight, preparing for students for their career and post-graduation. But another thing that we do at the beginning of every semester is our Jumpstart series. So this is helpful for any students, but specifically geared more towards students who this may be their first year at UNT or their first semester. So it can get overwhelming trying to figure out how to handle things or whatever, especially as an online student, because you can't exactly ask your professor in person. You can't ask your classmates in person. So it's a bit of a unique situation. So at Jumpstart, we have 4 sessions, and it switches up every semester depending on what we feel students are wanting to see more of.
That feedback.
So for example, our first session that's going to be happening, it's going to be past this when this is posted, but it's going to cover how students learn. Like so some students are more kinesthetic learners, some students are visual, whatever the case may be, and so helping them figure out what's the best way that they learn, even as an online student, because it's a little difficult to be a kinesthetic learner and you're sitting at a computer and doing all that. So what are some tips and ways that you can still tap into that learning and still get a good outcome out of it? So just really helping students feel more comfortable as they get into, school and being an online student.
Outside of the scheduled events that we have, how can students get more involved in OSE and in campus life?
I think the biggest thing is the advisory board, of course. So we only meet once a month. We check with you guys ahead of time, being like, okay, which time, which day works for y'all, because everyone has a hectic schedule. And we just get together and just ask students that basically kind of what the assessment team's wanting to get out of the strategic plan is, what's your experience and what do you want out of your experience at UNT? That's basically what we're doing from a small scale, but for our online students. And then if there's any sort of like struggles or things you've seen. Like, I know one of the complications that a student brought up last semester was not feeling like she understood all of the technology all the way. Because, of course, with online students, it can literally range from 18 to 100. And so making sure that each student feels prepared coming into it is the biggest thing, which it's difficult. I mean, there's still a bunch of new platforms and things being developed that I don't fully understand.
Yeah, I didn't know until recently that we had access to Adobe Suite as like a personal thing. You can like have it like as like a student account here.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier of there's so many resources and so many things on campus that it gets overwhelming. So that's why it's good to have a point person or a safe group to where you can talk about that.
Maybe like pick out kind of the things that would actually be interesting to you and identify those things rather than, and maybe filter out some of the things that are maybe great, but maybe not specifically tailored to your interests.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things with the peer mentoring program as well is you're going into it, some people may go into it being like, this is kind of what I want, this is what I'm envisioning and what I want to have this experience. And the student mentors are able to provide them different resources and advice and talk a little bit of like how their experiences have been as a UNT student. And it's just really nice just to have like a casual, low-key kind of interaction with the student compared to I'm not scary, but I'm also a full-time staff member, so someone may feel more comfortable talking to like you or our student employees compared to me and Andrea. But it's just nice to have it to where students are supported no matter what. So whether they want to be involved just by coming to an event here and there, or if they want to get even more involved and participating in the advisory board and peer mentoring. There's different ways. Like being an online student doesn't mean that you can't engage with the university and like be a part and feel you belong here.
It's just a different dimension of the university.
Exactly. And that's just the biggest thing, I think, when it comes to the goal of OSE and the strategic plan is just developing that sense of belonging and preparing students for when they graduate.
Yeah, and I imagine also kind of trying to like better integrate the online and the in-person, because kind of as things are going, like our world is becoming increasingly online. So really being online isn't really that far removed anymore.
Oh yeah, I remember because whenever the pandemic hit, I was in college and I was getting my minor in education, so I was working through the K through 12 kind of situation. But prior to that, I was doing like student observations, and they had some technology in the classroom, but it wasn't like big. But going back and student teaching after the pandemic, wild comparison, because everyone had Chromebooks, everyone had like some sort of program that overlooked something on it. The students knew exactly what kind of platforms and technology they were working with, and so it's completely like 180 situation. And so being more online and having this different technology and programs became more increasingly popular, and more
needed, more demand.
And so I think the pandemic honestly kind of kicked us forward in terms of technology and education. And so like being an online student prior to 2020, like there was a lot, but like it wasn't anything crazy. But I think post-pandemic, once people were like, I'm kind of used to working online, I kind of know what I'm doing, they're more willing to do it.
This also just kind of became a lot more like imaginable, like, oh, like, hey, I could actually do this online because I've had to do it for the past 2 years. As we're kind of moving into a new semester, moving into a new season of the podcast, I'm kind of curious if there's any advice or any encouragement that you have for our online students.
I have so much.
Especially as they begin this week.
I know, that's crazy. I can't believe I feel like this year's gone by so fast. Okay, so this is coming more from an alumni perspective compared to a staff member perspective, because of course I could give you all the resources and talk to you all day, give all the advice, but I think coming from someone who got their master's degree here, someone who was an online student for a while, I think just the biggest thing is like don't limit your college experience to just school, just doing my work, taking my classes, whatever. Like, make more out of your experience is the biggest thing, because you don't want to go through an entire experience and be like, wow, I don't think I met new people. I don't think I like went to a lot of events. I think I just kind of just did school. And of course also biased because I mean we work with student affairs, so we want to do things and make their experience better from like a outside academics perspective. So like go to that game night, attend a coaching session, whatever that looks for you, because for some people they may be like full-time employee, have kids, have a home, and so they may not be able to be as engaged. But even like watching our on-demand content on Canvas or YouTube, or listening to the podcast, that's being engaged. That's actively making your experience more enjoyable.
Making connections in the comment sections of Discord and YouTube and whatnot.
Exactly. So I think just go into this experience, and think about like, what do I really want out of this experience? And is there anything that I feel like, I may regret? Like, will I regret not going to any events? Will I regret not, meeting up with classmates or talking to other UNT students online? Because, I mean, for some people, they like, I got my bachelor's degree, I'm out of here. So making sure that, like, holistically, you feel like you're prepared academically, you were able to meet people and connect, and then like feeling professionally and career ready is the biggest things.
Yeah, because even like the friendships that you make are not necessarily just like, oh, like that's my friend that I hang out with. A lot of the people might be your colleagues. A lot of those people might be your, future business connections and things like that. Yeah.
And I mean, one of the fun things too, is I've noticed that
references.
With some of the online students that I've interacted with, some of them are like, there's a UNT alumni association that's our UNT alumni association is huge, and they have a bunch of different groups across the US. And so the alumni association, actually what came to mind, is hosting an event in New York for students and alumni who are near New York. Literally, you can just meet there and hang out. And so that's one way. So even if you're far away from UNT, if there are local associations through the alumni program, that's, you don't even have to be an alumni to go. You just have to be, being a UNT student, or just being someone who just really loves UNT, I guess. You can still go and make those connections.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the last question that we have for today. As always, you can keep up with OSE via our social media, our Instagram, Facebook, Discord, YouTube.
We have a lot.
What else do we have? We have a lot.
We have everything.
Pop a couple of them in the
exactly
screen here, and you can always reach out to me via email, or you can reach out to Dallas via email, schedule a coaching session, schedule a mentoring session with one of our student mentors. And is there anything else I'm missing?
No, that's it. I'm excited to see what this semester does for us and what this new season is.
Hope you all have a great semester, and as always, go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.